lots of Journey fans are talking about Jon Cain's new book, Don't Stop Believin'. I haven't read it yet. It's a couple of books back on my list of must-reads. I'll probably get to it before summer's end. However, I've got to say, regarding the things that fans are talking about, Cain's versions of how Journey found fame, the creation of some of their greatest songs, and of course, the departure of lead singer Steve Perry, I'm not sure that there is that much new to discover. Despite this new book, I believe that the best source of information about all of these things may be a 2008 interview with Steve Perry conducted by Alex Papademos for GQ magazine. So without any further ado, let me share 5 of the most interesting things that I learned from this interview. The very first thing that I gleaned is that Steve has a tremendous amount of respect for all of the members of the band, but especially Neal Schon and Jon Cain. In reference to Neal, Steve calls Journey his band. He also refers to Neal as a prodigy and says that, at least initially, band manager Herbie Herbert built the band around Schon. The second thing that is so plainly evident is the reason that Steve always felt like the new guy in the band is because of their original progressive rock aspirations. He references the band's Santana roots and the desire by band members to make it without a lead singer. Despite the massive fame of the band with Steve singing, he always felt like he got in the way of what the band would have chosen to do if they had really been given the option. Number 3 is that Steve did not like all of the merchandising that the band got involved with, especially the video game. In the interview, he calls it dumb and says that he thought the whole idea was a bit silly. He does, however, admit to the interviewer that he has discovered that there is a generation of kids now, well, at least back in 2008, who think that the game is a bit of a classic. Number 4. Despite the success of Street Talk, Steve never considered the idea of leaving Journey for a solo career. He says that his decision to make that album was spurred on by Neal and other band members working on solo projects. He also references the seldom seen ending to Foolish Heart, the video, where Steve leaves the stage only to be greeted by the other members of Journey. That was his way of telling fans that even though Street Talk was hugely successful, he was loyal to his bandmates in Journey. Number 5, and perhaps the most painful of all things that I learned reading this interview, is the sense of betrayal that Steve felt when the band started auditioning other singers while he was working through issues related to his degenerative hip problems. He told the band that it was fine for them to go on tour with someone else, but don't call yourselves Journey. If you do, he says in the interview, there's no going back. Before the hip injury, Steve had felt like things were coming together, and now the band's impatience to hit the road and tour was putting everything in jeopardy. Of course, we know what happened, and Steve, true to his word, has not gone back. Even at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance, he passed on that opportunity to sing again with his former bandmates. Normally I say something like, well, that's it, to end my videos, but I can't say it this time. That's because there is so much more to this interview. Truly, if you have not read it, do a simple Google search for Steve Perry GQ 2008 and you'll find it. It'll probably be the first thing that comes up. It's an article titled Foolish Throat. Beyond the interview with Steve, there is also an interview with Neal Schon to provide a sense of balance to this amazing band's history. After you've read the full article, please come back and leave your thoughts here. I would absolutely love to hear your perspective. 10 years later, a lot has happened with the band, as well as with Steve Perry himself. Alright, if you've enjoyed this video, please click on the thumbs up icon. And I would be absolutely honored if you'd consider subscribing to my channel as well. But most importantly, as always, Thank you so much for watching.